they weren't working. They were living with their mom. They weren't showing me that they were able to be, kind of a torchbearer. That was me doing that, so.
Yes, because you're a man. You have the energy of a man. I mean, does this woman not see herself? I don't think anybody leaves the military hoping to marry their drill sergeant. I mean, she probably goes in the bedroom at 4:30 in the morning. Time to wake up, get up, clean the house, let's go, let's go. I mean, can you imagine? My God, this woman is insane. Hello, America, FBI and CIA agents and fellow cult members. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm Dubrava. Now, once again, I love my riddles. And today's riddle is, before these ladies of the night descend on the darkness of the Vegas Strip, in pursuit of cheap liquor, crinkled dollars, and tips, they'll find their grip is feeding of clout as the sun shines bright and casts a large shadow of doubt. Today on OnlyFans on Trial, we are going to be checking out an episode of The Rational Male. And guess what the subject is? Do women need men? What do you think the answer is going to be? Let's get into it.
Get to the point where they can figure stuff out.
Andrew, what do you think about this?
Do you need men?
Yeah, I'm very happily married.
Oh.
I like men. I love men. I want men. I want women as well. But
Oh, there you go. You had to put that one in there. You can't be on Rolo's show unless something's off. I mean, it is classier than the Whatever podcast. I will give him that. But of course, she's got to like men, women, and aliens too, probably. Who knows?
yeah, I absolutely think
I'm sorry, what was your rank again?
men.
I'm first lieutenant.
First lieutenant.
I'm not in anymore.
First lieutenant,
but,
okay.
yeah.
Do you need?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree that women need men. I would disagree that women generalized would be lost without men in terms of their ability to make their own decisions and be decisive, because I'm very decisive. I'm a leader in the military.
Well, how would that be possible since you're a neurotic creature naturally?
Wait a minute. That's funny. Now, I know he just triggered her. Women are neurotic by nature. Let's be real. That's funny. That's so funny.
Well, how would that be possible since you're a neurotic creature naturally?
I don't know who you're talking about, but you're not talking about me.
I'm speaking in
Look
general.
at her face. First of all, she was in the military, some lieutenant or whatever. This is gonna be a good show. This is gonna be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
general.
I don't
Not
subscribe to your idea that women are neurotic. I'm not neurotic.
Do you know the difference
you don't know
between
me.
generalities and?
No, I definitely do. Yeah, I'm educated, real educated.
Fair enough.
You notice something? Do you want to notice something? Rolo always puts the girl that stands out, whether she's weird looking like Torsia or whatever, or the blonde, right? He always has the standout girl next to him. It's so funny. And look at his face. He's just eating this up. Don't forget, he is brilliant. He's a brilliant author. So, I can only imagine what's going through his mind.
Real educated.
Fair enough. But it sounds like you really don't understand what generalities is. Want me to explain it for you?
Wait, hold on a second. Why are you fighting with me right now?
I'm not fighting. I mean, I said something.
This was my turn to answer a question, and I was just saying I disagree with your statement.
Fair enough.
Jory, let's roll tape now. Now's the time to roll the tape.
Rolo to the
I was just
rescue.
saying I disagree with your statement that women in general, which is what your statement was.
Amy, let me ask you a question. Are women as decisive as men in general? Let's say the middle standard deviation. So this is a normal distribution of men and women. Do men make more decisive decisions?
Yes, men are more decisive. Come on, anybody knows that. Women are indecisive by nature, okay? That's why they're not good leaders most of the time. That's why they don't belong in government jobs like in Congress.
Than women, do you think?
I would say, well, first of all, I don't have enough data, but what I do know from my own experience in my own, workforce, et cetera, there's way more men in leadership positions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that.
Exactly.
I love men. I would totally disagree, quote unquote, they're better at it. But I definitely think men are important. They're valued. They're needed. They're an essential part of the world. So I love men. Men are awesome.
Beautiful. Andrew, you had a comment about what Jesse said earlier. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so you think that the reason that women aren't building things because that was like nobody taught them how? That's what you think?
Who said that?
You're asking me a non-rhetorical question. I mean,
Non-rhetorical.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that since the beginning of time, men have put themselves at a higher education and Okay, good. Tell me why I'm wrong.
How are
First of all, look at these podcasts. I just don't understand where they find these women. Are you looking at her breasts? I mean, look, your breasts are large. We can clearly see that. And we can clearly see that they are also not yours. Why do you have to wear something that needs to literally be taped to you to not like expose your actual breast? I mean, can you imagine? I mean, there was like a time where nobody would ever wear something like this on a show that has like hundreds of thousands, millions of viewers. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Good. Tell me why I'm wrong.
How are they?
Please.
How are they able to put themselves above women?
You tell me from history.
Well, let me ask
I'm
you.
asking. Well, hang on. It was your statement. You said men have kept women away from the ability to do things that men generally do.
Weren't women not allowed to go to school for a really long
Yeah.
time?
So
Weren't
how
men
are
put into government
right,
and political
yep,
positions?
I agree with all that.
Okay.
How is it though that men are able to do that and women can't stop them?
You tell me. I don't know, because they would get killed. They would be overpowered.
Right. So it's a
Okay.
force applicator, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're talking about force, got to ask you something. Do you think that your rights come from you, or do you think your rights come from men?
Good question. Let's see how she answers this.
100% they come from men.
They 100% come from men, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So men are the ones who give you your rights. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Because you've put yourselves in that position, yes.
And you can't take us out of that position, women.
I can't what?
Women can't take us out of that position. Only men can, right?
Well, maybe a woman could tell you get a manicure because you need one.
Okay. What's happening right now? Okay.
Jory, quick, give me the.
What bimbo just said that? What does that have to do with anything? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? You notice something? I notice something a lot with these girls on all these different podcasts. Whenever they can't answer a question, they just redirect. They just constantly redirect.
Yeah, here's a personal insult.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so back to where we were at.
Well, that just lowered you down really far.
No, stop.
Yeah, you don't have to go personal.
We need
Come in
men.
with information. You don't need to make fun of someone's voice.
You mean the woman who just attacked me? The woman who just attacked
Oh my
attacked
God,
me
you're
back?
such a
That's too
victim. I
much?
feel so bad for you. You
Oh my
were
God.
attacked.
All right,
Oh my God. Everyone I feel so bad for you.
I'm
You
glad
were
that there's.
attacked.
I'm glad.
What is wrong with her? This woman, something is wrong with her. First of all, I don't understand her purpose. Like, what is she about? She doesn't really look like she belongs there. Number one, I'm just dying looking at her. Anyway, I mean, like, why is it that they can make all kinds of rude, snide comments, attacks on the men, but the minute the men come back with something, this is what they act like? Just so.
Everyone I feel so bad for you.
I'm
You
glad
were
that there's.
attacked.
I'm glad that there's
Oh,
two twins here. It's
no.
twice as stupid. That's
Oh, they're twins. Okay, that's her twin. Okay. All right, so these two are twins because that one's sitting there. And here's another one. Jesus, they look exactly alike. Okay. All right.
I'm glad that there's
Oh,
two twins here. It's
no.
twice as stupid. That's perfect.
I mean, like, we definitely should focus on the intelligent side of the conversation.
I just got that. He said, I'm glad there's two twins here. It's twice as perfect because I think the other two are twins too. Oh my gosh.
Conversations that are going personal.
Well, a statement I made in the beginning, I said that women are indecisive creatures and they need guidance, right? I made that statement, and then I backed it up. You said, "Well, you disagree."
But that's about
with that.
me.
But
You're saying that about my gender.
Let me just finish my sentence. And then you said, "Well, I disagree." I said that, well, generally women are neurotic, right? Neurotic means that they experience more negative emotions, and you just proved it. Because why are you so irate right now when we're having a regular conversation?
You were the first person to jump down
No, I
at
didn't
me.
jump down your
Yes,
throat. We're
you
having
did.
a conversation.
No. We weren't having a conversation. I was
think
giving
about it,
my
look,
answer, and you
we're having a
jumped on me.
conversation, but you're the only one that's experiencing negativity.
No,
from
that's
it.
you.
I'm not experiencing
You're the
any
first person to do that
No,
on
I'm
this
not.
whole
It's
show.
actually very
Replay the
positive
tape.
for me.
I just look at Rolo. Look at him. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. You know, it's like women, these girls, anytime you say anything that goes against what they think is right, this is what they do. It's like you're so in the defense. I mean, come on. He's having a conversation. How does she not know it's a conversation? Why is it an attack just because he's jumping in the conversation? Why are you on a podcast? Is this what she did in the military? Jeez, I'm glad I wasn't under her or in the military at all. Thank you.
It's actually very
Replay the
positive
tape.
for me.
Replay the tape. You were the first
Replay the
person to
tape.
do
It's
it.
not about what I'm doing.
Actually,
It's
she
about
was
what
answering
you
the
feel.
question. You interrupted her, so I 100% agree with her.
They were having a
She was
discussion.
literally
having a
just answering
discussion.
the
Yeah, we
question,
were having a
and you
discussion.
interrupted her.
It's just a combative nature. That's all. When someone
pretty
says
much
something
proved my
like I was asked, when I was asked the question, I gave a response, and the men decided to laugh in the faces of all the women here. When you're asking us a question, when I come on these shows, I don't come to scold or insult anyone for their intelligence or their
100%.
opinion.
Just me.
I sit here.
Just me.
Yeah, because you're dumb.
Just
but
me.
I love you.
Yeah, just me.
But I sit here and I take what everyone says and I try to learn a little bit from everybody. I might be 100% wrong in something. Me sitting here and being willing to talk to you about it and learn from you is a bigger thing than me coming here and saying, I have an opinion, I'm going to say it, I'm going to be right no matter what. And what you did was you started a combative nature of discussion with her.
No, the reason why
and
you
guys
think
laughed
it's
in my
combative
face.
is because you feel more negative emotions than men. I didn't feel anything negative about it. Do you understand? You're missing it.
No,
I think
your
you're missing that you were
tone.
rude.
Okay.
You missed,
Tone.
you missed
Because you know that it was negative.
Okay.
That's why it's rude.
So I'm gonna.
God, this is like why there's like, you know, the red pill or whatever, you know, was created. Women like this, you can't have a conversation with her. You can't have a conversation with her. If anything you say, you're rude, you're combative, you're this, you interrupted me. I wasn't talking to you. I was speaking. I mean, God, it's like these women, do you notice in general, like, I don't know what her sister over here is doing. She's just like, oh Lord, I'm just hoping somebody finds my OnlyFans account right now because I look so hot. She's got her cell phone down there taping her. She's like, anybody, come on, you can see I see how hot I am. I mean, and this woman right here in the black with the breasts, she's another one of these like professional podcast guests. I've seen her on almost every show Rolo has and on other things. It's like, I don't understand. Like, there's this new generation of women that just make a career out of being guests on shows they don't even get paid to be on.
Tone.
Got-
You
okay,
missed
because you
it.
know that it was negative.
Okay,
That's why it's rude.
so I'm gonna play.
self-awareness
Hold on.
is why you missed it.
Amy, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Back it down.
Okay, so what another way of looking at this might be this, right? Women in general will feel a range of emotions that is greater than men's. Okay, in general they will. In general, okay, I'm not saying every time. I definitely know some fucking E5s that don't do that. But on the negative side, what he's talking about with the neurosis, some women will be triggered. Okay, for sure. But like some women will be triggered to where they're a broken egg. All of a sudden, everything will cause them to react far more negatively. If I acted negatively to everyone who insulted me, I'd be in prison because I'd be getting in fights all the time. There's certain times when I was like, hey, you know, this guy's talking shit, but I make more money than him, and he's just jealous of my girlfriend. I need to not respond. Does that make sense? And so what he's saying is those negative emotions can be so much deeper for women sometimes that they react to them more so. And I got to say, in general, I agree. In general, I agree that that's what I see most of the time. Also, he wasn't talking about you specifically. You're a lieutenant in the fucking army who went through jump school. You're very different when it comes to women. You're at the 3 standard deviations outside the norm.
She's a lieutenant. He's talking about the blonde. A lieutenant in the army who went to jump school.
And so for you, your experience might be different. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, absolutely. But that's
About sociology.
Now, why does a girl that looks like this, all right, she's very beautiful. Why are you in the army going to jump school? Why, like, if you're this pretty and nothing's wrong with you, why did you join the army? Like, why aren't you a model? Why aren't you, like, you know, married? Why aren't you a housewife? I don't understand this. Why would you go into the army and become a lieutenant and go to jump school? Because something's wrong with you. That's why.
So here's the thing.
be too generalized.
This is a show broadly about sociology. Right, broadly, we're talking about society dealing with itself. In order to do that, you have to use generalizations. Does that make sense? So that in doing so, it's going to make people upset. Do you want to show the?
He's explaining this to her. You're a lieutenant in the army or whatever, and he's got to explain this to you. Who are you in charge of? The kitchen? I mean,
in order
I
to
don't
do
get
that,
it.
you have to use generalizations. Does that make sense? So that in doing so, it's going to make people upset. Do you want to show the
Yeah,
clip here?
let's do it. Now, here's the reason why I asked you all of this.
Yeah.
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No?
We don't need short men.
Do you need a man?
No.
Need a man?
Oh, God.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No? Do we need men?
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men? Do we need men? Do women need men in this world? Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because we can be strong, independent women.
Do we need men?
Like, not necessarily, but like, if I can look at them, like, we need a man to look at.
Do we need men?
No!
No, why?
Nobody needs men!
Well, she doesn't need a man because she's a lesbian. I mean, come on, we can see that.
Really?
You do not need men!
Why not? Why don't we need men?
Why would I need men?
So what can you get from someone else that you don't get from a man?
The only thing I can get from a man that I can't get anywhere else is dick.
Okay.
And I don't need dick.
Do we need women?
There we go. First of all, let me just, all of these girls, do you see how they're all dressed? Like, they're all like dolled up to the nine at a nightclub. I mean, so what are you out here doing amongst men at a club? Like, you're not looking for a man? What are you doing? Like, what are these girls? These girls are always dressed up looking for men. They're always on their Instagram and TikTok talking about a man, the kind of man they need. They need a man with a $300,000 car, you know, nothing less than, you know, a $300,000. A Bugatti would, you know, they'd prefer abs, $10 million in the bank in cash. I need you to look like Andrew Tate. I need you to treat me like a princess. I mean, but you don't need men? I mean,
Early, but like, if I can look at them, like, we need a man to look at.
Do we need men?
No!
okay, let's fast forward. We don't need to see her again. Okay, I think they're asking the guys now. Okay, this is
Do we need women?
Yes,
We do. Why?
these women are awesome.
Do we need women?
Of course,
Why?
they're beautiful.
Do we need women?
Women make us feel compassionate and affectionate.
Do we need women?
Of course we do.
Do we need women?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're hot.
That's
what
my
else?
Sartain answer
They're
right
hot.
Do we need women?
I mean, shit, unless they're gay.
Do we need women?
Do we need women?
Yeah.
Yes, who's gonna do my dishes?
All right.
That was funny.
So now we already did that. We did the Q&A here, but the question is, why were so many women so prevalent to do that? So there's a woman named Lori Gottlieb. She just wrote a book recently. And in the book, she surveys a bunch of men and a bunch of women. She asks a group of men, you're like, if you got 80% of what you wanted in a partner, would you be happy? And the men overwhelmingly said yes, they would be very happy. And they asked women, they said, if you got 80% of what you wanted in a partner, would you happy? And overwhelmingly, the women said, no, that's settling. So there seems to be like some differentiation where it seemed to me like these men appreciated women, but not the other way around. Why do you think all these women felt that way, that they didn't need men?
We talked about this in the last episode. Men have
I told you. She's on every episode.
created an unsafe place for women. And
Wait a minute. Hold on. What did she say?
Didn't need men.
we talked about this in the last episode. Men have created an unsafe place for women, and women have begged men to act right for so long.
You think it's unsafe? I think it's like 50 years ago was incredibly unsafe. The World War I was way more unsafe than this. I think men have created a very
That's
safe.
why there's a problem in this world. It is more and more unsafe, not less and less unsafe. The only thing is that it's more unsafe now in a more sneaky way than it was before. But it is a common experience for almost every woman to feel unsafe when walking out of her house.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And
but you don't think women felt unsafe walking out of their house previously in
I don't
previous
think
generations?
it was as bad as it is right now.
I think people were getting away with stuff a lot back then too. You don't
What
think
do
so?
you say men built the house for women to feel?
Hold on a second before he gets into this. What is she? You know, these women crack me up. They go on these podcasts and they're just speaking for all women. Where is she getting this that women, 80% of women feel unsafe? I mean, 80% of the colleagues, you know, working with you in the strip club, I mean, maybe feel unsafe leaving. I mean, you hang out at strip clubs. You hang out at nightclubs, pimps, hustlers. Of course you feel unsafe. Of course you do. You need a military guy like the one sitting next to you to accompany you in and out of these places. But you probably can't afford it because you're, I don't know if your OnlyFans can afford a, 24-hour security team.
You say men built the house for women to feel safe in?
Huh?
Men built
the house
for women to feel safe in.
Okay.
Some men, because I would love a man like that. That's
even if
for
we go from
sure.
the beginning of time,
That's
men
not
built
even
everything.
relevant.
Well, what women are out here just building houses in general? He's got a good point. Here we go. See, this is where it's going to get good.
He's asking about
How
women
isn't it
feeling
relevant?
safe. It's not asking who builds the house.
Yeah, but
Focus.
but how is she going to? But how is she going to feel safe? Like again, like
I understand the
talking about
home that
those
he
are two
built for
different
her.
things. Those
I
are two different
understand.
things.
I think he's saying it like in a non-literal term. You build a house and you make the woman feel safe and you have a home with her. I understand that aspect. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's saying men literally build everything to make women safe, like your house, your apartment, your condo, your car. What is she talking about? Like, before anything, like all these cars, even just houses before cars even existed, men built homes for their wives and children and families.
No, I'm speaking just in general.
You're talking about like a contractor that went and built something.
No, just in general, men built everything. You said that, you don't think that, your women are safe, right? Well,
No, I'm telling you what we think.
Well, what
This
you
is
think
not something
is not
that
reality.
men. Here's the thing. This is not something men can comment on at all. This is not what's your opinion at all. You don't get a say in this. Women don't feel safe. Period.
Do you think that feelings supersedes reality?
No.
Okay, so
I
what
think
you said
proof.
was very nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense.
I think there's proof.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think there's proof.
What
actual
proof do you have? I got
Plenty
more
of
proof than you.
Articles, news, anything that you see where.
Jesse, women aren't less safe. We have the lowest crime rate in probably maybe forever. We actually are. You should read. There's a book about this called Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker, and he goes over how every single metric, poverty is lower and we have less crime. And how about child mortality? How about mortality during birth?
Wait, I got.
Look at her body language. She doesn't know what to do. She wants to crawl under a rock right now. See, this is when you just speak psycho babble, okay? This is what happens. Nothing makes sense.
How about mortality during birth?
Wait, I'm actually going to take your side, Jesse.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy.
I'm
here.
waiting for the sarcastic comment right after.
No sarcastic comment. You said you don't feel safe.
That was exactly my point.
You don't. Do you think that
Rolo is good? See where he's going with this, right? Hitting her in the emotional.
That was exactly my point.
You don't. Do you think that women are unsafe, or do you think that they just feel unsafe for a lot of different, various reasons? Is it a feeling, or is it something that you can say, you know what, we're less safe today than we were before, or is it a general kind of you just said, I'm speaking for women on behalf of women, right? Mm-hmm. We feel unsafe. Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that. And I'll tell you why. Because women are the vulnerable sex.
Right.
They are the ones that men have to protect, provide, and provision for since we were running around in the sub-Saharan African savannas as hunter-gatherers. Okay, so when women say I feel unsafe, it's generally because they're the ones that are charged with having children, being the incubators of the next generation. So of course you're going to feel unsafe, because when you are pregnant with a child for 9 months at a pop, and then have another one and another one after that, then yes, you're the vulnerable sex and rely on men to help have them make you feel safe in a very chaotic world that, death is right around the corner, right? Mm-hmm. So the feeling, I understand. The logic behind that, are you actually safe? Are you not? That can be debated. But the feeling of it, I think a lot of women do actually agree with you. They would say, I don't feel safe because of, any number of reasons, whether that's logical or there's actually something behind that. I think it's something that's sort of hardwired into women's psyches, because they're the ones that have to bear the children, and they're in a very vulnerable position.
And that's also proves.
You know what? See, this is where these women, okay, these faux intellectual, moral structures, they make no sense, okay? And when these faux intellects that are leftists get in a red pill room, all right, without their leftists around, telling them, oh, you're right, right? This is what happens, okay? The red pill community, like Rolo, breaks them apart, and this is why these girls always end up looking stupid. She looks stupid right now. Really. This whole thing is just like ridiculous.
My point, why women need guidance, which I had a problem with in the beginning of the podcast when you first started. So think about it. If you don't naturally, you're saying that we don't feel safe. Well, you just said that feelings doesn't supersede reality, right? So that means that reality is real, but your feelings aren't necessarily real. They can be real, but they aren't necessarily, meaning that you can have a feeling that actually...
You hear what he's saying? I mean, he's saying some deep stuff right here. He's saying exactly what he's making her look so stupid, but forget about that. Are you looking at this twin sitting next to this guy? I mean, she looks like she's going to stab him or something. Her energy is crazy. I mean, I don't know how he can actually sit there and have a conversation. Look at this. I'm bringing this back. She is just like staring at him. And look how close she is. I mean, she's all in his space. Some of these women are dangerous. You know what I mean? It's like, what is she gonna do? It's
podcast when you first started. So think about it. If you don't naturally, you're saying that we don't feel safe. Well, you just said that feelings doesn't supersede reality, right? So that means that reality is real, but your feelings aren't necessarily real. They can be real, but they aren't necessarily, meaning that you can have a feeling that actually equals to the reality. But what I'm saying is this is why women need guidance, because they can feel whatever and they need a man, a masculine man that's going to guide them in the right direction.
I have to agree with you to a point here, because I like what you're saying in terms of, and I think a lot of women would also agree with me, that if there was quality men that actually were true leaders, where they had their shit together, where they were building the home that you're speaking metaphorically and physically for their partner, etc., we would definitely feel, to your point earlier, more comfortable in our feminine energy and to be kind of that, supportive figure to our men to...
First of all, what feminine energy? Do any of these women exude feminine energy to you? I mean, every one of them, except this one sitting next to the blonde, she's like the only one that has feminine energy to me. And there's another one in the hat that hasn't said much. Okay. But the ones that are doing all the talking and all the what is feminine about their energy? They're like dudes, which is why they're on here complaining and why they're all probably single.
Set them up to be the...
Or in a lesbian relationship.
Leader. But
so if they did the shit that you want, then they'll lead. Then they can lead.
No, not the shit that you want, but to create...
Then what is the things that you're talking about?
Well, if you let me finish, sir. What I'm referring to is, you have a very, very valid point in terms...
The lieutenant has spoken. The lieutenant has spoken, sir.
The things that you're talking about.
Well, if you let me finish, sir.
Could you imagine dating her? Could you imagine? Oh, my God. I would never want to be in her household. Lord.
What I'm referring to is, you have a very, very valid point in terms of, needing a male to be kind of the safe place, the protector, the provider, the partner, the defender, all of these things. But the problem is, in today's society, those types of men are dwindling.
Yeah. So back to my question that I asked you that you didn't answer.
You didn't ask me a question, actually. You just interrupted me while I was speaking.
I did ask you a question. I'll ask it again. Here was the question that I asked. I said, what would that stuff be other than material stuff?
Okay, that's the first time you've asked me that question. First of all, I didn't say anything about material stuff.
No. I said something about material stuff because it's my question to you.
You didn't ask me a question. Sorry, but
I did ask you a question.
What's your question?
I'll ask you again. Okay. Other than material shit, what are these qualities that you think are going to make you feel safe?
Okay, well, first of all,
a lot of things that you
I think you're making a lot of assumptions about me, which you don't know me. So in terms of
I'm responding to what you just said.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about material
No, but
items.
I think you did. That's the whole point.
She I literally said nothing about
God, how was this woman even a lieutenant? I don't understand her disposition. I mean, first of all, did you hear what she's saying about the types of men that are dwindling? No, those types of men are not dwindling. They just don't want to be with you. Who would? Listen to how she speaks to him. It's just rude in general. Never mind. I mean, you're on a podcast. People debate. You go back and forth.
Providing a
items.
home, like emotionally. She didn't say anything about jewelry or whatever you think that she thinks.
Yes, but what?
She's scary. These twins. I wouldn't want to be sitting next to her.
She
literally said
talked
nothing about
providing
material
a
items.
home, like emotionally. She didn't say anything about jewelry or whatever you think that she thinks.
Yes, but what?
I'll tell you the non-physical things I named because I named several. I said nothing physical, by the way. I think I made one reference to a home, and I said a metaphorical home.
So just chill out.
I'm talking about
and
being a
listen,
partner.
Listen to what I'm asking you. Okay, listen to what I'm actually asking you. You say, if we have hypermasculine men who are doing X, Y, and Z, then we'll let them lead. Okay. Other than material, what do you mean by this?
Okay, so you just phrased it better and less attacking. So what I mean by that is somebody who you can rely on, that's communicative, that is, when I say rely on, I mean like if you want to talk to them, they pick up the phone. They're not ghosting for 3 days. So they're a reliable partner. They're a partner in terms of like, if you both have jobs, you're both bringing income to the table. You're both bringing food to the table. You're creating a trustworthy relationship. You're loyal to one another. You have respect for one another, appreciation, gratitude. There's all these incredible things that are essential for a successful relationship. I'm just talking about being a good friend, a good partner, a reliable, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. That's all I'm talking about.
So what puts you in the position where you think he should lead is just these qualities that you're talking about of friendship and this type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I could give you so many examples where I was in relationships where I really wanted that from somebody else, where they were creating.
This girl is scorned. She is scorned, scorned, scorned.
An environment that was secure and safe, and I could rely on them and trust them, but that didn't happen. Like maybe they weren't working, they were living with their mom. They weren't showing me that they were able to be, kind of a torchbearer. That was me doing that, so.
Yes, because you're a man. You have the energy of a man. I mean, does this woman not see herself? Okay. I mean, she needs to put the army uniform back on and just roll with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a masculine army sergeant, lieutenant, whatever energy. Okay. She said men, good men that are solid, that, don't play games and ghost you for 3 days. They're only ghosting you for 3 days. Okay. They're not dwindling. They're in the basement playing video games because they don't want to be with a woman like you. You're a man. You're a first lieutenant. Okay. Anybody that's in the army like her, you want to do everything a man does. You want to be combative. You want to be miserable. You're unfeminine, okay? That is why you don't have a man. Who would want to be with this woman?
That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for material anything. I'm just asking for a loyal, trustworthy, reliable partner.
Oh, I mean, if they're living with their mom, they're not working, those would be material conditions, right?
I guess in some respect, but then also non-material too, in terms of just like, you out of a partner, I want someone who has goals, ambition, drive,
Which
there's all these
leads to
other things.
material.
Right.
She wants someone with goals, ambitions, and ambitions and drive, and right? So that she can like break them down every day. Come in and say, you didn't do this right. That didn't get done fast. Can you imagine the nagging? I mean, think about it. You're practically like, if you're in a relationship with this woman, you're like in a relationship with like your drill sergeant. I mean, I don't think anybody leaves the military hoping to marry their drill sergeant. I mean, she probably like goes in the bedroom at like 4:30 in the morning. Time to wake up, get up, clean the house. Let's go, let's go. I mean, can you imagine? My God, this woman is insane.
These are material conditions.
I feel like you guys are like kind of overwhelmed with the feminine energy, so you guys are just automatically attacking.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. I think they're
thriving in the chaos.
I'm not sure if that's what's going on here.
In terms of like the physical things that you guys are talking about, I just want to make a really clear distinction just so no one's confused. In terms of like material things, I don't need stuff. I'm not a stuff girl. I don't have purses. I'm not a stuff girl, just to clarify. I mean, I'm a girl that will eat an MRE in your backyard in a camping, a tent. And I'm just as
exactly. That's why the men are playing video games in their grandma's basement. That's why you're getting ghosted for 3 days. Men don't want another man. Men want feminine women. Men want women who like pretty things, who like to be pretty, who like to be feminine. Not other men. If a man likes her, he's probably on both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying? Think about it.
Happy. So I want to clarify, material things for me are very different. Material things for me are, security, making sure that I'm okay, making sure like if I'm sick for a few weeks, I can take a couple weeks off work and my partner's got me. You know what I mean? Like just being I guess in some respects that's a little bit materialism, sure, but not in the way that you're thinking.
So that you understand. When we're talking about materialism, Rollo brings up this point. He says, women want this security because they're the more vulnerable sex. Okay. So to the point of safety, it's really women haven't made it in the shade safety wise, right? So he's probably right that this is a mental block. I mean, women used to get attacked by literal wolves, right? Like that actually happened. Their dresses would catch on fire in the 1700s and they would burn to death. Not a joke, right? Those were.
Yeah, their dresses would catch on fire in the 1700s because at that time, man hadn't invented electricity. You're carrying candles around. I mean, these women are literally bonkers. They're out of their minds. Every single thing, even the podcast that they're sitting on, the headphones they're using. How did they get to the podcast? Men created all of it. I don't know how anybody can sit here and just devalue men. I mean, hello?
Real safety concerns. Those don't really exist anymore. So when I'm asking this question, I'm talking about the mentality of, is this mental thing which is going on for I'm unsafe? Does this have to do with material conditions, or is this some other form of conditions which is causing this mental state of I feel unsafe?
I feel like women feel unsafe today because everything that you see on the news is some crazy individual attacking a woman.
What do you mean specifically? What, like, could you be specific? Attacking a woman? What do you mean?
I mean, like, not necessarily attacking a woman, but like you can hear all of these news stories about, individuals crossing the border, in the cartel and raping women.
I've had my house
Are you not
broken
hearing
into
these things
twice
daily?
in the last.
That happens a lot. Human trafficking.
I've had my house broken into twice. I live in LA in the last year.
Yeah. So I think the more women pay attention to the news and the things that are going on in the world, I feel like that can create a fear in itself. It doesn't mean that it's actually happening
you're
in
bringing
their
up a good
local
point.
area.
So it's environment, material conditions.
80% of the victims.
This guy's killing them. You see what he's doing, right? I mean, every single thing that they're saying is all based on emotion. And what he's saying too, material conditions. What are you talking about? If you didn't have men, you wouldn't have any of this stuff.
80% of the victims of violent crime are men. They're not
Wow, that's interesting.
women.
Against each other?
Yes. Yeah. Well, for the most part, there is some. I forgot. Dr. Buss had one. It was something like 88% of murders are men killing other men over women, or something like that. And it was like 6% were women killing other women, or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, while you may feel unsafe, the brunt of that unsafeness is actually men having to deal with that. We're the ones who have to get the shotgun and go downstairs when there's a noise in the kitchen, right?
I'm not saying I particularly feel unsafe. I can understand why other women feel unsafe because I don't personally like to live in fear.
Yeah.
There might be a statistic where like there's a certain amount of women that get raped every day, whatever. I'm not going to pay attention to that because I feel like the more that you fear something, the more that you draw those kind of circumstances into your life. So I just choose not to live that way.
Nice. Okay.
Law of attraction.
Everybody's got to say, Allie, did you have something to say? You have some crossfire you want to throw at me?
I think
just say that I interrupted you and just cuss at me.
Everybody going outside of their door these days should have a little bit of fear behind them.
Yeah.
Male and female. I get like Miranda said, I can understand why a lot of women feel safe. A big thing to me is like who you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of people who in my life that I feel like can protect me or would have my back. A lot of these being males that I can count on or that I would call for specific reasons for things that I need that I'm not or I can't handle myself. So just like the basic question of needing men, and I don't know, if you want to feel safer, maybe you should have like a band of men behind you who are going to have your back.
Or did you hear what she said too? She made a good point. Hello, if you're going in unsafe places like you know where, the strip club, yeah, you're going to feel unsafe. I mean, you're probably going to get roofied. One of your clients is going to like be waiting out the back door when you come out. You know what I mean? If you're wearing your shirt half on and you're walking down the Vegas Strip, I mean, what are you asking for? You're not asking for attention? Because why else are you doing that? Why is this girl dressed this way? I mean, who wears a top like that on a television show? I mean, it's just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And you wonder why you feel unsafe? Stop speaking for all women. You're talking about yourself. Okay, every woman is not out, a working girl on the night. I
have your back.
Why do you think it is that all those women in that video said, "I don't need a man"?
Half of them were drunk, first of all.
Well, okay,
they're younger women. They all look under 24.
I'm glad you point that out, because when they're drinking, it's truth serum. Right?
Yeah, they all said it laughing and joking.
Inhibitions.
That's right.
They all were saying it laughing. Every single one of them said it with laugh and smile and joking around. I think if you actually sat them down and individually asked them in a serious setting, they would more than half of them change their answer.
Wait, at this table, hold on a second. I didn't read it that way. Those girls weren't really, they were nasty. The guys, they were saying good things, and you could tell it was like genuine. They're like, well, yeah. Even some of them were like, yeah, of course we do. It's like, what is she talking about? Those girls were like, of course we don't need men. This is that leftist, liberal feminist way that we don't need men for anything. Go watch that Wonder Woman movie. What happened when they actually got it? Oh, yeah. It was an island, here's Wonder Woman. It's all women raising Wonder Woman. Yeah, until the men came in and annihilated them all. Wonder Woman was the only one that got out. I mean, hello, let's not be ridiculous. There are physicalities to males and females. There are just things that women are never going to be able to do as well as men. And women are emotional beings. I mean, where are we in the world that we're just so convoluted with all of this nonsense? The sky isn't blue. Men can have children. Men can breastfeed now, too. That's a new one I heard today. I mean, I was like in shock with that. But where are we going with this?
It's back to like a juvenile thing as well, to where it's just like, ew, boys. And then the guy's like, oh, they're so hot. And so
stop. Now she's talking about a juvenile thing. Those girls are not juveniles. Okay, you're not talking to 9 and 10-year-olds. The girls that were asked, do you need men? And each and every one of them said no, are all adults of legal drinking age, okay? They're all adults. Stop making excuses for women that are adults.
In that initial reaction of like playfulness, like, oh, ew, I don't need him. I think a lot of us initially have that.
It's also the same reason why the podcast bring on nothing but a bunch of 22-year-old girls and ask them questions that they know they haven't had life experience. Exactly. They want to clown and they want to be like little kids, like, oh, you farted. They want to make fun of women. They literally want to make fun of women.
Who do you think is deliberately going after 22-year-old girls?
Hold on.
Okay.
We'll get to you in a second. But like, they will make fun of women who are, tell that girl to shut up. She's 32 years old. Okay. So you rather have a 19-year-old girl, 22-year-old girl sitting here who can't answer the questions properly because she doesn't have the life experience. It's a lack of maturity. It's the incels that just want to troll. They want to make fun of people for getting older as if they're not going to get older, as if their mother doesn't get older. And they all just want to laugh at stuff. But if you actually sat one of these drunk girls down or asked them in a setting that wasn't leaving the club, where they probably just had their ass slapped 20 times and guys trying to grope them and their friends that are just trying to dance and have a good time.
Look at, boy, see how she views men? What happened to this woman? Because something terrible happened to her. She has nothing good to say about men. Okay, you notice that? Nothing, not a thing. I mean, you're going to a dance club dressed like that, and I don't understand this whole concept with these feminists. You don't want men to say anything to you. You don't want them to say, hey, you look beautiful, or hey, you don't want them to engage in conversation. I mean, but you're running around like this. So who are you dressing like this for? I don't understand this concept of feminism that don't want to engage with men. It makes no sense. But then you want a man that is this and that and all these requirements, but you don't ever want a man to even approach you. You get mad and upset with it. I mean, who's to say that those guys were doing any of those things to the girl in the club? And who's to say that those girls weren't liking it or instigating it?
they probably would have a different answer.
Didn't some
That's
of you
a
here
lot
say
of
that
situational.
I don't need a man? Did anyone here say that?
Well, I was just going to say that. I think most of the girls here at this table said that they did, right?
Yeah, most of them did.
So
I think
none of y'all drunk. So what?
Well, no, they said they.
We
they
said
did-
we do.
We do need a man. So here's the difference.
Everyone said that though.
Almost every single person here said they.
Okay, but I'm saying
That's
that's
compared to all the women in the video who were drunk who said they didn't.
True enough. Yeah.
So here's the thing: proximate and ultimate cause of things. Right. The ultimate cause. I'm sorry, you all fucking need men. You have no idea the entire infrastructure.
I think all of us said that we
for
did.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm just making a declaration for anybody else who's watching. From a proximate cause, you don't, because a woman can get a Glock and make $300K a year and have no association with men, whatever, and not deal with a lot of stuff. I think societally, it's easier to be a woman now than a man because of some of those things that we're talking about. So proximately, maybe a woman doesn't need a man, but ultimately we all need men. You do, because all the freedoms that you have were because men were willing to be incredibly violent on your behalf.
Ooh, so true. Wow. Men were willing to be incredibly violent on our behalf. Think about that. Men go to war. See, this is where I have a problem with women like this. It's like, you don't appreciate anything about men. Think about that. Men go to war for us, for our safety, for us to have all this stuff. They created it all, and they're fighting for us to keep it.
Some men who died 200 years before you were born were willing to kill other men in order for you to have that level of freedom. And yeah, there were some women there. Yes, absolutely. There we go. And
Come on, here we go. And what were those women doing? They were doing what they were supposed to do in those times. They were nurses. They were secretaries. Okay. They were bandaging the men up that were hurt. They were consoling. Okay. They're not on the front line, with, shotguns, machine guns, like this masculine energy. I feel so sorry for these girls. My God.
we have a love connection here.
But I think although
Going green to blue.
there's a lot of women out there that say they don't need men, and then you look at their lives and it's like, okay, well, you have a male boss, your dad's sending you $200 a month, there's all these men around them helping them. And I think that's one thing women really need to recognize is there's so many amazing men in your life, whether they're related by blood, whether they're your boyfriend or not, there's some man around you that's helping you out in some way, shape, or form.
I think a lot of these women think it's cool to say we don't need men.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, it's a
There you go.
feminism movement.
Okay, so
I feel like it's very
I'll agree with her there. It is a feminism movement.
trendy right now
Yeah.
to say that, like, hey, I don't need a man. Like,
Yeah.
we live in this world that I don't need a man.
Girl
I
power.
think it's just, yeah.
So sometimes we do the shows and we'll ask girls to rate themselves. If the first girl says she's a 7, we get a lot of 7s and 6s and 5s and 8s. If the first girl says she's a 10, all of them say
But
10s.
that's the 4-minute mile rule right there.
What do you mean?
The first person to break
the
the
4-minute mile was
yeah.
it was 2,000 years after the mile was created, and the
Exactly.
second person was 43 days later.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying, but like that's the thing. What I found is that I think a lot of these women saw other women being like, "Fuck no, I don't need men," and it just like it starts
Right.
to snowball. Whereas the men, do you guys see that maybe men are like willing to put up with more and then like still appreciate it? Is that possible? Do you guys see that in
I
general?
think men put up with a lot from women.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go with that,
I mean,
Lieutenant.
to your point earlier, I do think, and I know this because I've seen some studies on it, that women are definitely more emotional. I don't like the word neurotic, which is why I got a little defensive earlier, because neurotic is considered a very negative tone, like a negative thing in general. Like women get called crazy, women get called neurotic, right? They get called all of these labels.
Okay, somebody called her crazy.
Women get called neurotic, right? They get called all of these
But
labels.
you even saying that proves the point that neurotic fits you.
I just don't. I think your scientific explanation of it earlier, that makes it go down a little bit smoother, because when you just label someone something, it's like, well, we've known each other for
But yeah,
literally
the
5
fact
minutes.
that you're upset with a label, you're proving my point.
I'm trying to.
This is where it goes bad. She's about to walk herself down a sand trap.
Make it clear that there's so many assumptions out there about women. Like women just get like tossed off. Like if you look in the comments even right now, we get called 304s. We get called crazy. Like, our opinions are never
Here's
taken
another
seriously.
word, catastrophizing. Women tend to catastrophize more than men. That means
I agree
that
with
they
that.
they go to
dramatic
the extremes.
effect.
Very
Dramatic effect. Yeah.
That plays a part in
Hyperbole.
it, too.
Yeah. Dramatic effect. I agree
Is that a
with
better
you on
word
that.
for you?
Sure. Yes.
Worst
That
case
one
scenario.
goes down a little
We
smoother.
can listen. We're going to get a thesaurus out here when we go eat sushi after this. And we're gonna,
I think
I'm
it's
into
the
that.
delivery, and I said this to you
Thank
outside.
you.
It's the delivery, because you
Delivery,
can't
sure.
drop a bomb on someone in a kind of condescending, rude, or disrespectful manner, and then be, oh, you're being neurotic. Oh, look at you being defensive. Look at you being an emotional girl.
I've definitely
I didn't say that you
I
did.
didn't point.
Hold on,
I
hold on.
didn't do any of that.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
I mean,
saying
what
that
if
you
you-
did.
what if you
I'm saying
did?
there
Like,
is a delivery
Wouldn't-
and a way
wouldn't
to
that
do
again make his
things.
point?
And that
Here we go. The delivery. But they can say anything they want, any way they want. It's just like this army chick over here. It's like, you're sitting here like all up in arms. I mean, you're real sensitive to be a lieutenant in the army. This is the problem with our military right here. Okay? This is a lieutenant in the army. We're dealing with life or death here, and you're sitting here getting triggered by something he said like that. Can you imagine if she's making a decision like on her period? I can't even imagine. I mean,
oh, look at you being defensive. Look at you being an emotional
Why
girl.
not?
I've definitely.
I didn't say that you
I
did.
didn't point.
Hold on,
I
hold
didn't
on.
do any of that.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
I mean,
saying
what
that
if
you
you-
did.
what if you
I'm saying
did?
there is
Like,
a delivery and a
wouldn't-
way
wouldn't
to
that
do
again
things.
make his point?
And that's why you
I
see a
think
different
that-
reaction from different
Remember,
people.
who said that? Well, what's going on here? Do you guys can't handle the feminine energy? I think it's the reverse. I think you can't handle the masculine energy.
said it.
Well, if
one
we
of you said
couldn't
that?
handle the masculine energy, why would we surround ourselves with men like Michael and Rolo? They are so masculine.
No,
I think that's
for attention, because you're obviously an OnlyFans prostitute. I'm assuming. I bet you I can go find her OnlyFans and her twin. God only knows what they're doing in Vegas. I mean, hello? What do you mean, why? They're all on here to promote themselves. What kind of statement is that even to make? You're sitting on the podcast to promote yourself. What are you just there for, to make the world a better place? To be a voice for other women? I don't think so.
also a very narcissistic.
Where's her book? Are you an author? I mean, at least Rolo's an author. At least, hello.
I'm to say you can't just throw out a bullet and be like, "Oh, you got hurt. Oh, why are you so like it doesn't make any sense.
What
It
does
doesn't make
narcissism
any
mean?
sense. Like you can't just shoot a girl and be like, "Oh my god, I'm in pain." It's like, well, calm down. Like it's
Can
complete
you explain
gaslighting. It's
what
narcissism.
narcissism
It's
means?
everything that. I mean, you know about this. You spoke on this.
I use terms and I define them. Can you define it?
I just did. Don't put me on the spot and tell me to do something. Why
Wait, if you're-
Ready? 3 countries. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
I think you
Name
know
3
about
countries.
it, so why don't you tell me?
He better be careful. All right. I don't know what. Look at her body language. I mean, she is like all up on him. Does she realize? Look at this girl. How tall do you think she is? I don't know, maybe like 5'3". I'll give her 5'4". Look at the size of her. Does she understand? These women crack me up. You're all up in his space. You're being extremely rude and disrespectful. And she's practically touching him. Do you know what he would do to her if he just decided to like turn around and whack her in the face even lightly? She'd be on the floor. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the disrespect is just unreal. It's like women will just push, and then wonder why something happened.
Wait, if you're
Ready? 3 countries. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Name 3 countries.
Why don't you tell
Name 3 books in the Old Testament. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Wow. Okay. This is good. There's more to this, and I've got to see the rest of this. I mean, it is so scary to see how masculine these girls are, especially that lieutenant in the army. She's sitting here talking about, a certain type of man doesn't exist anymore. They're dwindling. They're dwindling because of people like all of them. All of these women have nothing good to say about men, period. What man would want to be around any of their energy? Okay, I make an exception. The one in the hat and the other one with the dark hair, they didn't say much and their energy is different. But the twins, the 2 sets of twins and that army brat, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. God help you, men, and stay away from girls like this. Any girl that's in the military, run as fast as you can. All right, I hope you liked this episode of OnlyFans on Trial. We're going to do another one on this. See you next time.